those of you that are flipping through the pages, please don't do that just yet. I'm not going to say it 4 times. This is the theme, awakening Nama Rasa, and the theme is resting upon one verse, which we're going to chant shortly, from Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami's Upadesh Amrita, text 7. It's in your booklet, but you're not going to look in your booklet for it right now, are you? Somebody doesn't hear very well. Okay, so each class we're going to recite the verse and there's parts of the verse that we're going to focus on in each of the sessions, 4 sessions. It's to try to dive deeply into what Rupa Goswami is teaching in Nectar of Instruction. It's one of the stages of bhakti where one has the jaundice of avidya, and the remedy for jaundice is something sweet. Rock candy. Solid sugar. And it doesn't taste sweet, it tastes bitter. But by following the prescription of the physician and taking that which is sweet, the jaundice of avidya becomes removed, and the real sweetness, this nama rasa, can be experienced. That's our topic, and there's different parts to it. You're going to see. Oops. Oh, I have to do this. You're going to see this image. It doesn't show very well because of all the light, but right there, there's an ear, and that's the sound of Krishna going into somebody's ear, hopefully yours. And that's Nama Rasa. So we're going to begin, instead of our usual following our founder Acharya singing Jaya Radha Madhava, we're going to sing a song together, and the words are going to show on the screen shortly. One of the songs of Gitavali. Gitavali is a collection of songs on different themes, and one of those themes is Sri Namastaka. So there's 8, so this is song number 2 of 8, and each one has 8 stanzas. And what we're going to do together, we'll sing responsively, and then little review of where we were to get to where we are from the previous Festival of the Holy Name, and then we'll hear the English translation. It's very specific to this morning's topic. Okay, so we're ready to go.
Sorry. Jaya Jaya Hari Nam Chidananda Amrita Dham Paratatva Aksharakara Jaya Jaya Hari Nam Chidananda Amrita Dham Paratatva Aksharakara कृपा कोरी नाम रूपे अवतारी जीवे दया कोरिले अपारा निज जने कृपा कोरी नाम रूपे अवतारी जीवे दया कोरिले अपारा जय हरि कृष्ण राम जगजना सुविश्राम सर्वजना मानस रंजना जय हरि कृष्ण राम सर्वजना सुविश्राम सर्वजना मानस रंजना मुनि वृंदा निरंतर जिना मेरा समाधान कोरी गाई भोरी आवदाना मुनि वृंदा निरंतर जिना मेरा समाधान कोरी गाई भोरी आवदाना ओ हे कृष्ण नामाक्षर तुमी सर्वा शक्तिधार जीवेरा कयाना वितराने ओ हे कृष्ण नामाक्षर तुमी सर्वा शक्तिधार जीवेरा कयाना वितराने तोमा विना भावा सिंधु उधारीते नाही बंधु हाशिया छो जीवा उधाराने तोमा विना भावा सिंधु उधारीते नाही बंधु आचेता पाठ जीवित ओ हे कृष्ण नामाक्षर तुमी सर्वा शक्तिधार जीवेरा कयाना विताराने तोमा विना भावा सिंधु उधारीते नाही बंधु हासिया छो जीवा उधाराने तोमा विना आचेता पा जीवे जाता तुमी सबा करो हाता हे दया तुम्हारे एक बारा जीवे जाता hata hilaya tumhara ek baara डाके जरी कोनो जान होए दीना किंचन नहीं देखी अन्य प्रतिकारा डाके जरी कोनो जान होए दीना किंचन तव स्वल्प स्फूर्ति पाए उगतपा दूरे जाए लिंग भंग होए अनायासे दूरे जाए भक्ति विनोदा खोय जय हरि नाम जाय पद थकी तू पदाशे जय हरि नाम जाय भक्ति विनोदा खोय जय हरि नाम जय पद थकी तू पदाशे विनोदा खोय जय हरि नाम जय Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Very beautiful melody, huh? Wait till you hear the translation. But you're going to have to wait a little bit because there's some in-between messages. As I mentioned, this time together is going to focus on one verse from Upadesh Amrita, or our Nectar of Instruction, by Rupa Goswami. And here's the verse. And we'll say it together, not responsively. Syat Krishna Nami Charitari Satapya Vidya Pito Patapta Rasanasya Narochikano Kintwadarat Anudinam Kalu Saiva Jushta Swadhi Kramad Bhavati Tad Gadamo Lahantri. I put in big letters Sita. Of course, we know Mother Sita. This is a different meaning. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, or ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet. It is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting the sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So this is our focus for this festival of the Holy Name. Rock candy. Is it only a Bengali word, misri, or is it a Hindi word, misri? Hindi word, misri, misri. So that's rock candy. There's an image of rock candy. And it's sweet, like Prabhupada would say. The constitutional position, the dharma of sugar is it's sweet. If you see a crystal and you taste it, it's not sweet, it's not sugar. Sugar is sweet. But for one who is afflicted by jaundice, it tastes bitter. Without the anecdotal story, I once had jaundice, and I tasted rock candy, and it tasted bitter. But I took it anyway because Prabhupada said that's the remedy. And guess what? The jaundice condition reduced, and it started to taste sweet. So it's sweet, but the taste of sweetness is blocked by the jaundice of avidya. So what's the remedy? What's going to help us get over the jaundice of avidya? There's a nice verse, amongst many nice verses, quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita by by Rupa Goswami. If you like, you can go to, now you can open your books, it's okay. Page number 4. Your little booklet, page number 4. And if you don't have one, they're in a box back there somewhere. And this verse, along with the many verses that we recite during our morning program and before reciting the 10 offenses, for years at Brooklyn Temple we recited this one, Bahu Janma Kadiyari Shravana Kirtana Tabutana Paya Krishna Pade Prema Dana, Prema Dana, the giver of prema. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of Godhead that is the ultimate goal of this chanting. So in the purport, Prabhupada quotes this verse here, Takshri Krishna Namadi, Na Bhaved Grayam Indriyai. So if you look down, page 4, the emphasis is going to this particular point. The holy name becomes manifest when one engages in the service of the holy name. Those of you that kindly registered received something after you registered, and that was an exercise that was pursuant of this morning class. Has 2 parts. 1, entering into a mood of service to the holy name when chanting the holy name. Our life in devotion is to reawaken our dormant loving relation with Krishna. I'll say it again. Our life, our mission, our existence in the bhakti yoga, in practicing Krishna consciousness, is to awaken our forgotten, our dormant relationship with Krishna in its fullness. And the primary means for the mood of serving Krishna by which we can be in our relationship with Krishna is the holy name. So specifically, the holy name becomes manifest when one engages in the service of the holy name. So service of Krishna is accessed through service of the holy name. So I don't know if any of you did the exercise. We'll find out during the, what's it called? Sangha Group activity, Sangha session. Sangha groups. Sangha Group activity. So it's in the schedule, and we're going to be taking a look at that one and another one. It's also in your handout little presentation here. So again, the theme this morning's class is the mood of serving the holy name. So, a little sharing. I have been spending a whole month plus when chanting in the mood of service to the name. And for me, it was really easy. It really helped, in fact, but not just because my nature, all of us are nature, but my nature in particular is I like to serve. And chanting is a process, but serving the name really connected. Like serving the name, great, connect. And then in the mood of serving the name comes all other services that connect with service to the name. Should I say it again? Our life is reawakening our forgotten relationship with Krishna. A loving relationship with Krishna is forgotten. But it's there, dormant. So how to is, that's through the medium of chanting, it awakens, it cleanses and it awakens that dormant mood of service to Krishna. But the name, so this is the other part, the name and the object named Krishna are the same. Abhinatvam nama namino. Many of us have been chanting for some time and we know the verse. It's from Padma Purana. Nice verse, very important verse. Nama Chintamani Krishnas. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, that's our theme, awakening Nama Rasa. Purnashuddho Nitya Mukto, it's eternally pure, eternally in the liberated position, beyond the modes, beyond anything material. Abhinatvam nama namino. Abhina tvam, having the quality of non-difference between nama and nami. So those are, this morning's class is, by serving the name, all other things that we do as service connect to service to the name. Service to the name is service to Krishna, because the name and Krishna are non-different. So those are the two parts. And we're going to explore that. One of the Festival of the Holy Name presentations that we shared together was going through the 7 excellences of chanting the holy name. That's Shikshastaka number 1. And we're going to do a little quick review because the goal is this Nama Rasa. And that Nama Rasa is in its fullness in the Prema stage. That's the goal. I was having this discussion with a god brother, not about chanting, but about something. And it was this nice balance. I'm an incrementalist, I confess. I believe what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said was right, which is Progress is a series of steps made in the right direction. That's progress. Series of small steps headed in the right direction. And this, my godbrother was saying, yes, but you need to know what the goal is. And he gave the classic example that Prabhupada gave. So supposing you're in New York and do you want to go to Miami or do you want to go to Los Angeles? If you don't know what the goal is, what are little steps going to do you? You need to know the goal, and you need to take little steps to reach the goal. So the goal is Namarasa, or Krishna Prema, and the little steps are within this first verse. In the first two, Chaita Darpana Marjanam, for those of you that are newer, the heart becomes cleansed, the mirror of the mind becomes cleansed, Chaita Darpana Marjanam. Just anybody, the people that we meet on Harinam and giggle and dance funny, and they think it's cute. So they're getting Chaita Darpana Marjanam, and we're also getting. And then continue, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Material existence is finished. That's only 2 out of 7. Prabhupada speaks about this in Bhagavad Gita 6:20 through 23 at the definition of samadhi. In the purport, Prabhupada is saying, even neophyte, that's us, people that chant, they're crossing these first 2. And then what comes after the first 2? When there's cessation of material existence, Prabhupada writes, that's what nirvana is. What's nirvana? Cessation of material existence. Well, that's what Buddhists want, nirvana. And what's on the other side of nirvana? Keep chanting. What Prabhupada writes is, one experiences one's spiritual identity and one engages in activities on the spiritual platform. He refers to this wonderful scriptural reference from the Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, text number 6. Swarupeina vyavastati, that's the permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable, gross, and subtle material bodies. So it's the consciousness can be awakened now just from chanting. So what's the third? Chaitadarpana marjanam, bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam, shreya kairava chandrika vidharanam. That's this one. The white lotus of good fortune, that's who you really are, starts to blossom. Even in darkness, lotuses close, but in the Kali Yuga darkness, the lotus of the heart opens in the light of the holy name. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vidharanam. The classic example given is that of Narada. During his lifetime, he was not identifying with he had a body, but he wasn't identifying. At the time of death, he gave up his body and the spiritual form was manifest. We're going to hear tomorrow morning Srila Prabhupada explaining this. So I hope you're here tomorrow morning. It's very nice. In a letter of 1967 to one of his disciples. So what happens after the material identification is finished and you're engaged in spiritual activities with a spiritual conception? That's what Bhakti Yoga offers that the other systems of yoga don't fully have. And what's at the end of that trail? Krishna. That's the goal. So, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. Knowledge causelessly awakens. Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. And then Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. This Ambudhi means ocean, and there's an ocean of Ananda. Keep chanting. There's an ocean of Ananda. We're not there yet, but that's all within the name and the process of connecting in the mood of serving the name with the name. And there's varieties of service, there are varieties of rasas, because everything is within Krishna, including all rasas. Raso Vaisaha. And finally, the goal, the prema stage. And according to Rupa Goswami's teachings, the prema stage derides even the conception of liberation. For your reference for later, there's a nice verse in Padyavali found on page 7. He's quoting Sridhar Swami, the Bhagavatam commentator. O Lord, is your impersonal spiritual effulgence not always present everywhere? Even so, it has not been able to break even a single small leaf from the tree of repeated birth and death. On the other hand, the moment your holy name is taken by the tongue, it thoroughly shatters the tree of birth and death down to its roots. Of these two, the spiritual effulgence or the holy name, which should be served? Beautiful, isn't it? It's like the beginning question of chapter 12. Which is better, the personal, the impersonal conception? We serve the personal conception. We serve the personality of Godhead in the form of his name. In the form of his name. We should serve, approach the holy name in the mood of service to the holy name. It's really easy and lots of fun. And it gives all these other beneficial things. Cheta darpanam arjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam shreya kaira, etc. So here's that verse again. We're going to flip back. I hope you don't get too much distracted by the pages. But at the bottom of page 4, I'll read it again because this is the theme. The holy name becomes manifest when one engages in the service of the holy name. Then he quotes the verse, the Rupa Goswami verse. One must engage his tongue in the service of the holy name. We try to engage, our Krishna consciousness movement is based on this principle. We try to engage all the members of the Krishna consciousness movement in the service of the holy name. Not just chanting, but there's a mood of service to the holy name. See the translation. If one is infested with the 10 offenses and the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many verses, will not get the love of Godhead, which is the ultimate goal of this chanting. That's the nama rasa. It's the goal, prema stage, love of God, that derides even the conception of liberation. So we should want to serve the name so we can get to the prema stage. Just saying the same thing again a little bit differently, just to underscore. There are 3 principles in any action. Those of you that attended Veer Krishna Maharaj's seminar in Gitanagari or here or heard them online, he was speaking about not just doing things because you ought to do them, but you have a sankalpa or some intention. And before, he recommended, I'm recommending, before you begin chanting, or every day, refocus on what's your intention. Like, why? I've gotten some feedback or some communications from devotees in the past while after those seminars saying, this has really helped me. Because chanting had become a little dry because I was chanting because I had to. And when I realized that's where the dryness is coming from, and I don't want the dryness, we want namarasa, we want the taste. So I've started asking myself why. And then a little light went on that I really haven't been thinking why beyond I ought to. And ought to, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, that's a mode of goodness. It's good that you ought to, as opposed to not. But then there's namarasa comes with something more than you ought to. So there has to be something inside that says, like, what's important to me and why? It's not a bad question, not a doubting question. It's an introspection question, and recalibrate and refine and over again. Supposing you're in darkness and you're at sea and it's a storm and it's dangerous, but off in the distance you see a lighthouse. The wind is blowing. Just keep heading for the light and you'll get there. You get to a place of safety, even in a storm. So each of us, part of the things that Satyanandan Swami encouraged us to do from the very beginning of japa retreats was sankalpa. At the very beginning. So this isn't a japa retreat, but the message is, for your own self personally, what's your intention? Why have you come here? Ask yourself that question. Why have you come here? Not just because you ought to. There's some expectation or some intention. And stay with it. And refine it. And once the why comes the what. And what in a general sense is acting propelled by your intention, or the process of devotional service. And the process of devotional service, Rupa Goswami has given us this very sublime definition, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. We want to please Krishna, and activities dedicated to pleasing Krishna. There's many parts to that, but that's another class. And after the what is then how. So we want the right mood. We want the right mood of service. So now here is this the translation of the song that we sang, and it's recorded. I hope it works.
All glories to the holy name of the Lord, the abode of immortal transcendental bliss. The supreme absolute truth, who possesses an eternal form of sacred syllables, has descended in the form of the holy name. Thereby, he shows mercy to his own devotees, while showering boundless compassion upon all fallen souls. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's called by different names such as Hari, Krishna, and Rama. He is the auspicious resting place of all living entities within the universe, and he delights the minds of all souls. Wise sages maintain great reverence for his holy name and constantly sing it by filling their mouths with the sound. O Lord Krishna, in the form of name syllables, you possess all supreme powers and are engaged in bestowing pure auspiciousness upon the living beings. Without you, there is no other friend to rescue us from the ocean of material existence. You have come for the deliverance of all fallen souls. For all souls within this world, there is much misery and sorrow. Oh Harinam, if someone calls upon you just once, feeling himself very meek and lowly, possessing nothing and seeing no other remedy for his relief, you then easily destroy all his sorrows. If one simply obtains a faint glimpse of your actual identity, then all sorts of terrible miseries are cast far away. Indeed, the very form of suffering itself is easily broken to pieces. Bhaktivinoda says, all glories to the holy name of Lord Hari. Oh Harinam, oh Harinam, I perpetually fall to the ground in hope of attaining your lotus feet. Oh Harinam, I perpetually fall to the ground in hope of attaining your lotus feet.
Very nice, huh? 2 verses in this song, we'll visit it again later, but 2 verses specifically say the form of the holy name is the 2 syllables, Krishna. I'll say it again. The form of the holy name is the 2 syllables, Krishna. Those of you that are a little familiar with Harinam Chintamani, another writing of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where Haridas Thakur is teaching the glories of the holy name. He speaks about Nama Rupa Guna Lila. In sequence, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. So when chanting, one should be attentive to the sound. And it's not that the sound then reveals the name in the sense that there's another entity besides the sound, and then you can see the name, you can see the form, rupa. Within the syllables, the form is there. The form and the syllables are non-different. The form of Krishna is the syllables. That's what this is saying. Same as, and then from the form, you have to hear the syllables before you can see the form. And then experience the qualities, and then the pastimes, and enter into the pastime. That's our process. It's very simple, with a little problem, our mind. The mind is quite distracted. And one of the ways to help overcome the distracted mind is serving. It's not an uncommon thing. There are people who are new. I was just discussing this with a devotee that's engaged in book distribution, that when meeting people and engaged in prasadam distribution, the meeting people, they want to do some service. Some people want it. It's because we're service-minded by nature. And to awaken that mood of service to Krishna is serving the name of Krishna. And from that intention of serving the name is where attention to the name goes. Pretty clear? Vaisheshika Prabhu was here some time ago and giving class, and he was going through this little play on words. He is well known for saying, where attention goes, energy flows. Like, pay attention to book distribution, and energy will go to book distribution, and book distribution will increase. So where attention goes, any energy flows. And then where your intention will determine where your attention goes. And if your attention goes to the name because of the mood of serving the name, then you have mindfulness of the name. Not only when you're chanting the name instead of distracted chanting, but when you're doing anything, because that connection with the name. A little illustration that shows the same thing. The closer our attention, that's this thing, the pot, is to the Maha Mantra, that's the fire, the sooner our consciousness, that's what's inside the pot, becomes purified or boils. That's a little illustration of mindfulness. If you like visuals to help understand concepts. Supposing the pot is very far from the fire. It's going to take a long time to boil or to cook something. But bring the pot closer and closer to the fire, and the cooking or the boiling will take place much more readily. So attention is necessary, and intention drives attention. And the intention of being the servant of the name, that's the theme of this morning's class, takes away the distracted chanting, the mechanical chanting, just attention to the process without attention to what's inside. You and your relationship with Krishna. Don't just simply rely on the process. Go to the intention behind the process, the consciousness behind the process. There's this other message that is part of this morning's class, is Abhinatvam Nama Namino at the bottom here. So the name, Nama, and Nami are abhinna. They're non-different. They're the same. So there's a nice illustration of Krishna. Krishna, the cowherd boy, Gopal, Krishna. And the person, the painting or the deity form and the person are non-different. The name and the person are non-different. And we're being given this name, the song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur that we sung together and heard the translation. He's descended to take us out of the miseries of material existence and into the realm of his association, into this eternal spiritual abode. Each of these names we hear in Shikshastaka, Krishna's fully appearing. It's right in the song as also. In his fullness, all of his potencies, and all of him and his form. Not exactly there within the name, but they are the syllables. And that's what we're being encouraged to serve, is the name. And by that service to the name, the service of the form, qualities and pastimes. That's Haridas Thakur's teaching. Prabhupada writes in this Harinam Chintamani, Bhakti Vinod, actually the holy name never comes from the mouths of Mayavadis, for although the syllables may be heard, Nama Prabhu, with all his transcendental potency, does not reside there. So the consciousness behind the vibrator of the name is important. That's us also. And our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada came to deliver the Western countries that are filled with impersonalism and voidism. And impersonalism and voidism is not only in the Western countries. It's in the Eastern countries. It's in the in-between East and West countries. It's pervasive. The holy name never comes from the mouths of Mayavadis or impersonalists. Although the sound is there, Nama Prabhu is not there. Interesting, huh? And in Prema Vivarta, another book written by one of Lord Chaitanya's associates, Jagatananda Pandit, one cannot chant the holy name of Lord Krishna, purely in the company of non-devotees. The sound and syllables of the name may be uttered, but that is not real chanting. So we're all trying to be devotees, and in the company of those trying to be devotees, that's going to be where real chanting takes place. That's why we have such things as this festival. Now, how this mood feature is in a mood of please accept me. Now, I had this discussion with one devotee who, they didn't like that. Please accept me, because of course Krishna accepts us. So we shouldn't say that because Krishna accepts us. But it's the mood of us who have left Krishna, although we're unworthy and we've betrayed Krishna. We're appealing, unqualified as I am, as deviant as I am, as fallen and covered as I am, please accept me. So here's Prabhupada saying this. This is a Bhagavad Gita lecture in New York City. It's found in the handouts for your reference later. Lord Chaitanya taught that we should simply cry, and we shall simply pray for accepting us. That's all. So this vibration is simply a cry for addressing the Supreme Lord, requesting, please accept me. Please accept me. So the mood, or the how, is very important. The mood of prayer. To become the humble servant of Nama Prabhu. That's this morning's message. We're going to have time in the course of today. Minimally, you may have to chant some more rounds, and minimally, we're going to have Nama Yagya this evening and other forms of kirtan. So we'll have opportunity to practically apply this mood of being the servant. See what happens when you do that. That's what these exercises were about. And there's another one that's also will be discussed during these Sangha Group activities. To take the message and bring it inside. One is understood to be an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead if he considers himself an eternal servant of the Holy Name. And in his spirit, in this spirit, distributes the Holy Name to the world. That's part of our service to the Holy Name, is our mood when chanting, when it's japa or kirtan or whatever, then engaging with the name, in the mood of serving the name and giving the name. As our Harinam, public Harinam is doing. A couple other points and we're finished for this morning. A quote from Mother Teresa: "Don't think for love to be genuine, it has to be extraordinary. Do small things with great love. And it is the small things, in the small things, that our strength lies." Nice statement. And how that applies to what we're doing here at the Festival of the Holy Name is just one name. One devotee, Prabhupada disciple, told me that Prabhupada had said, this is, the 1967 era, Prabhupada said, every time we chant our 16 rounds, we have 25,000 opportunities to achieve spiritual perfection. All we have to do is hear one name. And if you haven't heard one name today, then tomorrow. It's a small thing, just one name. But within the mood of service to the name, that's how the mind, the intention will bring your attention to the name away from distracted chanting. Somebody may have a doubt. Well, is this jumping over? Is it okay that we should approach establishing our original relationship with Nama Prabhu directly? Well, naturally so, because it's instructed. And so within the instruction comes mercy, and within mercy there's empowerment. And that's this, we make some endeavor according to instruction, but we should never forget the necessity of the mercy that's within the instruction to do so. Otherwise, it's quite incomplete, anything that we may do. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha, or enthusiasm. Again, quoting Rupa Goswami, or Prabhupada's explanation of Nectar of Instruction purport. Enthusiasm requires intelligence. Again, a little feedback because it just happened. Somebody who heard Bir Krishna Maharaj's seminar commented, it applies to what we're doing here also. All of this is really nice. It requires intelligence, because otherwise it's in one ear and out the other ear, and nothing sticks. So we have to, the intention is to go beyond notional and application. The application requires intelligence. Consistent application requires intelligence. Krishna gives that intelligence to one who he sees wants him. And to want him, activity, please. Practice. And intelligence will be given to guide that practice if the intention is right. I want to reawaken my relationship, eternal relationship with Krishna. That's our goal, circling back around to our starting point. And consciousness, that's us, we're conscious and consciousness, that consciousness through the chanting needs to be directed to the name, to the object. We're the chanter, he's the object of the chanting. And the object of the chanting is the name and the person named, Nami. And when that's complete, then Krishna Prema, that gift of Krishna Prema is restored. Our natural condition in its mature stage. Any comments or discussion? Oh, right here, right in front of you.
Krishna Guru Maharaj. So you mentioned about the point of intention in chanting the holy name and the consciousness behind chanting the holy name.
Yeah.
Are they both the same, or?
Consciousness behind the chanting of the holy name and intention? Well, hopefully. You know, distraction can be, you know, there's the intermittent condition, but if it's steady, then yes. In other words, my intention may not match where my consciousness is because of anarthas or impurities within. Then we could say my intention isn't strong enough. Yes, yes. We want them to match. And so that requires practice towards fulfilling the intention.
There's sometimes a distinction between chanting and service. Like you said, you should do some service or something like that. But seems to be connecting that. Chanting is also a service.
Yes. And the other services are services to the name. That's the message this morning. Of course, service to Krishna, but the name and the person are not different. So they're both services to the name. We may make a distinction between the service of chanting and the service of washing the pots. What I'm attempting to do this morning is saying they're both service to the name. If our consciousness is, as we're hearing from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Is that okay? Yeah.
I was wondering what it's the misconception of not seeing chanting as a service.
Very common. You know, it's not just the managers, it's the prabhus. It's a service. And therefore the conception of service that's not chanting is a very limited, or it's an incomplete conception of service. It's not service, it is service. Both of them are services, but the conception of the other kinds of service is also incomplete, not yet matured. All right?
Like while chanting as a service to the name, service to the holy name, we do it as a matter of duty, that we have chant 16 rounds.
That's right.
Like we have chant minimum 16 rounds.
Yes,
Like
it is a duty.
Like it's matter of duty, but will that change into a service with love gradually?
Well, if we not necessarily, or you know, if the pot is 6 feet in the air and the fire is down here, it's going to take a long time. To cook the pot of rice. So what's needed is bring the intention closer to the calling of the name, not just, you know, the process or the physical activity of saying the name, but, you know, the consciousness behind the activity. Connect the two. And that's part of purification. You have an answer to your question? You want to know, is it mechanical? And the answer is not really.
So
Bahu janma kariyati shravana kirtana. That's references in your handout.
So in other words, when the consciousness is getting purified, slowly that intention of duty will change into love.
Well, progress will be made in the purity department in any case. To get the perfection, the full fruit of the holy name, the intention has to match has to become closer and closer and closer to the name. Service to the name, the mood of being the servant. Then the name will manifest. And then the form will manifest, and everything will manifest. So it's a beginning. And then keep going.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Behind you.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the presentation. Question about, during chanting, we all listen to the sublime sound, vibration. At the same time, do you recommend we also visualize, do you recommend we also visualize a form while hearing the sound as well?
Thank you for the question. You can stand up and deliver the microphone to whoever the next person is. Can you stand up and be the messenger of the microphone? But I'll answer your question first.
Sorry, the question is...
No, I heard the question. I'm just asking you for the service after I give you the answer. I heard your question.
Yeah.
And the answer is, the primary attention should go to the name. Very easily, attention can go to something other than the name if you try to if you bring your focus of attention somewhere else, like a form. However, if tomorrow we're going to be chanting before the deities, and if chanting before the deities and thinking the name and the deity are the devotional inspiration increases your hearing, that's to be accepted. However, the mind is binary. And if you do this, you're not doing that. If you're doing that, you're not doing this. So the primary focus goes to the name. And if you find that contemplating on a form, one of your favorite forms, your deity form, enhances the attention to the name, do that. And if it takes one's attention away from the name, it's going to go to other things and other things next, because your main activity is chanting. And that's part of the problem, the restless mind, the distracted mind. And the means, we're going to hear as we go along, the means of controlling the restless mind is the ear, not the mind contemplating a form. That's not going to... the ear, is more powerful than the mind. It conquers the mind. We're going to just explore that topic. One session just on that topic. Okay. So, over here.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I'm wondering how we can always be enthusiastic when we're chanting, yet at the same time not expecting none of the results from chanting as we're hearing of cleansing the mind and such, and how you can always remain enthusiastic in spite of that and not
focusing. It requires intelligence. That's what Prabhupada explains on this. Utsahan means enthusiasm, because that's your question. And it requires intelligence. And intelligence takes us away from passion, kind of, I want a result. And the intelligence, buddhi, spiritual intelligence, is my relationship with Krishna. So then that goes back to why. Then comes the what and then the how. So intelligence guides both the what and the how, but you have to have a clear sense of why. And then you can have an enthusiasm that sustains, because the result is the connection with the name in the mood of service. And it's in your hand. It's not depending on something outside of you, result-wise. It's the mood of service. And then, built within Shikshastakam, it's a seed, but you can do with me whatever you like. There's only one thing that I request: service. That's the name. That's a mood, or the how, to chant the name. When the why is clear, I want my relationship, I just want service to the name. That can't be taken from you. Results or no results. External. It's internal. It's an internal cultivation. Bhakti is an internal. It connects to what's outside of us, but if it's not going to connect to what's outside of us if it isn't internal. And then the intelligence supplied. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupiyanti te. And then you can discriminate. That's what intelligence does. You can navigate your way through results, no results, externally speaking. Otherwise, we're being tossed by the waves of the mind. Circumstances looking like this and looking like that, and then it changes and makes you sick, seasick. The waves of material existence. Something else, something on the ladies' side, up front.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So being that the goal is purification, right? If you all right, so we need to hear while we're chanting, right? So if you're hearing while you're chanting and you're doing it with enthusiasm, then why can't our chanting be pure around non-devotees?
Why what?
Can't our chanting be like pure when we're around non-devotees? Like if, say, you're on the train on your way to work or whatever, and you're chanting your rounds, right? And the goal is purification. What? But you're doing it with enthusiasm, and you're focused on the names. Because that's my goal.
Is your question, when you're going to work, riding the subway, is that chanting or not chanting? Because you're on the train, there are other people that obviously they're not devotees.
Right.
Is that chanting? That's what you want to know.
Yeah, is that...
That's chanting.
But it's not pure, so I'm not being purified.
You're becoming purified. And may that day come when Krishna's mercy comes And you can do your chanting at home, and then when you're riding in the subway, you're reading Bhagavatam or something. But you're becoming purified. The name is there, your intention is connecting with the name. And again, it's in degrees, but it's chanting. The name is present.
So you're getting closer to the goal?
Yeah.
Okay.
But just a little editing, the goal itself is not purification. The goal itself is the mature stage. The goal is to be in your relationship with Krishna. So purification is a means to get to that goal. So.
Thank you.
Right behind you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I was trying to understand for a long time how chanting is service to Krishna. How Krishna is pleased by our chanting.
Because the name is Krishna. Prabhupada speaks like this. Supposing somebody calls your name. Oh, what do you feel something? Especially someone with whom you have a relationship and you have some affection and they call your name. You know, a child calls, Mommy, or something. Or a friend says, hey, he calls your name. You feel something. Now, that's our contaminated consciousness, but pure consciousness is Krishna's eternal relationship with us that's not forgotten and not egocentric. He's Atmarama. He's fully self-satisfied. But he loves his part and parcel living entities, and when they turn to him and call his name with some feeling, with the intention of being in their relationship of service with him, it's a relationship that's being reawakened and rekindled. It's a relationship. That's how it works. So the mood is very important, just like the mood of responding when someone calls your name. It could be, you know, familiarity. Yeah, what do you want? Oh, how does that feel? But Krishna reciprocates according to our mood. That's his position. He's Atmarama, and he simply reciprocates as we regard him. Okay?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can you please explain this again? Jiva is both conscious and consciousness.
Can I explain which one? Speak slowly. Can I explain what?
Jiva is both conscious and consciousness at the same time.
Okay. That one. I'll unpack it a little bit. Many times in the course of hearing Srila Prabhupada's lectures, I would hear him say this: the living entity is both conscious and consciousness. And he said it enough times, I understood it was important for us to understand, but I didn't understand. It sounded cool, but I didn't understand what he was wanting us to understand. And then Jiva Goswami, in his Sandarbhas, Tattva Sandarbha, explains from a verse from the scriptures, making this comparison. A lamp is both luminous and it lights up objects within the room, like pots and plates. That's the. Similarly, living entity is conscious and consciousness. So our problem is we've turned our attention away from Krishna. And it's not easy to turn our attention again to Krishna because we're contaminated. We have so many desires to be fulfilled. So the process of Krishna consciousness is to direct consciousness to Krishna. And that requires a willful choice. The conscious self has to decide willfully, I want to be in my relationship with Krishna, and then extend consciousness to Krishna. And I'm suggesting, this morning's class is, the mood of service makes it really easy, because we're servants. So, and the name and the person named are the same. So turn our consciousness to the name, and we're connecting with the person in full, not indirectly, directly. That's the powerhouse. You know, there's an electric plug outlet over here, and it connects with the Con Edison plant or whatever it is that generates the electricity. This is connecting with the Con Edison plant, like the place, the powerhouse of all electricity. The name. And the name has descended, the prayer, the name has descended. So turn our consciousness to the name. And the original consciousness is restored. The covering consciousness is removed. That's what the song says. You can take a look later. We're going to end because it's time for breakfast. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, devotees. Before you leave really quick, we just wanted to make a couple announcements about the weekend. Thank you again for all the devotees that have come from Chicagoland, different parts of Chicagoland and different parts of the country to be here for the Festival of Holy Name. As you can tell, it's very hot here. Chicago's extreme. It's either really cold or really hot. So I would just like to remind everyone to stay hydrated, coming from somebody that doesn't do that very well. It's really important. And so we will also just be showing you, just wanted to take you through the next couple parts of the schedule for this morning, and also wanted to introduce you to the idea, the Sangha Group's activities that will be taking place in the afternoon. So but we'll be having breakfast right now. It's 9 o'clock on the dot. And then at 10 o'clock, please make your way back to the temple room. Acharya Nisha Prabhu will be leading us in kirtan here in the temple room. And then at 11 o'clock, we'll have the second part of Maharaj's discourse on awakening Nam Rasa. And then at 1 o'clock, we'll have lunch. And I would also like to strongly encourage the devotees. We're here for just today and tomorrow. This might be the shortest Festival of Holy Name that we've ever had, as a result of the way that the July 4th holiday worked out. So we're here for a short amount of time, so we can all try to take part in all of the different parts of the schedule. There is also break time built into the schedule, so don't worry about having the break. There will be a good time to have break after lunch. So please try to be there for all of the stated parts of the schedule. And so just wanted to briefly tell you about this Sangha Group activities. This activity is actually, the idea came from TSI, the Sangha Initiative, which is a youth group organization which is part of ISKCON and which takes part in different parts of the US. We've had a TSI retreat here in Chicago in the past. This year it'll be in New York. And basically the idea with Sangha groups is that you get together with a small group of devotees and you get the opportunity to discuss kind of openly your experiences or your experiences and your feelings on different topics. And so by getting together in small groups of devotees, we hope that it encourages openness and positivity. And one thing we just like to encourage with the Sangha groups is that it's a forum that allows for devotees to share openly. So we like to keep the discussions confidential if devotees like to keep it that way. But at the same time, it's also an opportunity to be very open about your feelings. And, you know, in the context of the Festival of Holy Name, the idea is that we will get an opportunity to share our experiences with the Holy Name, and we can hopefully grow off of each other and gain experience on how to establish our relationship with Krishna. So that's just the idea of Sangha groups, and then you can go to the next slide. So if you haven't registered already, then you probably haven't even heard about Sangha groups besides Marge, you know, briefly mentioning it in his class. So what you can do is, if you can please register, Prabhala Madhuri Mataji and Shruti Russell will be outside in the they'll be outside in the lobby here, so please register, and just know that the registration goes towards the support of these festivals, and it would also, you will also get your Sangha group's leader name, and you can please find that devotee, and they will also let you know about different services that the Sangha groups will be doing, you know, over the course of today and tomorrow. And so if you have any questions about, if you get your Sangha group leader and you don't know who that is, you can also find Sundari Radha here, she's standing over there. And if you have any other more detailed questions about the schedule or anything like that, you can also talk to Sundari Radha. But other than that, I think that should be it. So we are so happy that you are here. Please let us know how we can make your time here the best. Hare Krishna. We will now have prasadam. Hare Krishna.